Singer-songwriter Marc Broussard released his debut album in 2002, and now 12 years later, he's unveiling his 6th studio release. He joins me now to talk all about it. Marc, great to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Lauren.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you. I saw you back at the Bowery Ballroom several years ago, so it's nice to have you here in person. Your music has been described as Bayou Soul. Would you describe it like that?
I would describe it, I mean, I don't know. It's really difficult because my tastes vary quite a bit, and I think there are quite a few genres that could be applied to all of my records. So I never really had a great term to come up with what I do. Bayou Soul is, I guess, the most fitting. I don't mind being called a Bayou Soul artist. It kind of describes everything that needs to go on.
Okay, because of that, you're from Louisiana, you come from a musical background. Tell me a little bit about that, and maybe your first musical memory.
All right, well, my first musical memory was watching Back to the Future. We were at home a few days before we were about to leave for family vacation that we took every year in Destin, Florida. And my father, as a guitar player, would book a gig to help pay for that vacation down in Florida with some buddies. They do this annual gig, and anyways, see Michael J. Fox sing Johnny Be Good, and I was hooked. Started singing the hook over and over again. My father next day brought the words home and taught me the lyric. I was about 5 years old, and he put me on stage that weekend in Florida when we went up for the vacation. So that's my first musical memory. But like I said, my father's a guitar player. His brothers all played. My grandfather played. So the music definitely runs quite deep in my family.
Now we're out with your 6th studio release. I understand this is a very personal record for you.
It is.
And it's all about coming back home.
Well, it's the writing process for this record really started with the death of my grandmother at the end of the summer of 2012. And shortly after that, I discovered an artist by the name of Blake Mills that really kind of, there was a song of his that I heard called Don't Tell All Our Friends About Me that punched me right in the gut. After I heard that song, I decided that I couldn't neglect that side of my writing anymore. And it unleashed a fury of emotions that I had been suppressing for a long, long time. What I found was that this record was the most personal because I had to connect with the lyric in a way that I had suppressed for so long, that it was really exciting to get to go there. And so I went there, and I dove right in head first.
One of the songs, Hurricane Heart, some of your fans have already heard. What was that song about? That
song is actually about a guy. I'd rather not go into the nitty-gritty of it, but essentially it was a working relationship that I had with someone, and whenever I let him know that the working relationship would be ending, he didn't take it very well, and said some very personal things about me that I felt merited to be written in a song, you know. So wrote a song about the guy. It actually sounds a lot more like it's about a girl, but who cares? One
of the songs is the title track, A Life Worth Living, and that's the one about your grandmother.
Correct.
What sparked that?
She was this sweetheart of a lady, but the smoking and the drinking contributed to a cancer that she couldn't escape. And I think she knew she had cancer well before any of the doctors even knew. So between diagnosis and burying her, it was about a 3-week span. It wasn't very long. I left and went home, and she was slipping away just as those moments crept into my brain. I could feel her presence waking me up out of my misery to get me into a place where I could write this song. And I really feel like that song came to me more than any other song I've ever written. It came from somewhere else. I didn't write it. I was a conduit for it, and it's a very special song.
And you're still in Louisiana, and you still give back to the area. I know after Katrina, you were doing a lot for the area, and you're still doing that.
Yeah, so we launched a Momentary Setback Fund after Hurricane Katrina, and then I did some work with the United Way of Acadiana and Big Brothers Big Sisters in the years following that. And we've kind of you know, died off on the philanthropic efforts over the past couple of years. And so I'm now trying to launch a new venture called the Sos Foundation, where we'll put out records every other record cycle. And all of the proceeds from the sale of these records are going to go into this fund. And we'll partner with various organizations. It's really exciting because I think it's going to be some of the funnest records that I'll ever do, because we're going to do soul records and gospel records and, you know, country and western records and classic rock records. The Save Our Soul records are going to be some of the funnest records that I ever get to make. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, what a great way to give back.
You know, I really do believe that music heals. I do. I've seen it in my own life. I met a guy recently that was brought out of a coma after 30 days when his girlfriend put a song of mine on. So I'm going to use the music as best I can to help people.
Okay, well, keep up the good work, Mark. It's so great talking with you. Thanks for coming by today.
You got it.
This is Marc Broussard. His new album is called A Life Worth Living. For this and all things entertainment, stay with CBSNews.com.